Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's live broadcast. And we are continuing our discourse on age-specific sexuality education. When we started this discourse, we started from 0 year, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 8, and today we are talking about children who are 9 years to 13 years or 12 years or thereabout. So, if you have children in that category, this will be of help to you. Please put on the comments that you're watching and where you're watching from, and then if you're going to watch this video after, you can still drop your comments. I would like to know what you think. If you have questions, go ahead and place it in the comments. So, we are talking about children that are 9 to 12 years old age category today. Okay, so from when they are 9, you know that they are psychosexually and psychosocially, they have moved. All right. So, what do you expect? I normally say that welcome. Can you write something in the comment? Let me know who is watching with me. Welcome, Rita. Thank you for joining this evening. Okay, so what do you expect? I usually say that children develop in different areas. Children have different departments of their lives, just like everyone else. They have their mental, they have their physical, they have their spiritual, and they also have their sexual. So just as they are developing spiritually, they are developing physically, they are developing in any area. Welcome, Grace. They are also developing sexually right from when they are born. They begin to develop sexually as well. So a lot of times we tend to, keep their sexual life at the background. Like we think that they are not sexual beings, that they will only become sexual beings when they grow up. But that's not true. They are sexual beings as much as every adult is a sexual being. Welcome, Evelyn. Glad to have you here this evening. All right, so welcome, Cynthia. Glad to have you. Thank you so much for coming. And you came early. Thank you so much. Welcome. All right. So they have their sexual life. So it shouldn't be forgotten. The reason we are in a lot of ruts in the society now is that we have forgotten that children develop sexually. All right. I remember a particular post where they said an 8-year-old boy wrote a love letter to his classmates. I remember in the comments how parents were ranting, shouting like this, that. But they forget that these children, as much as they are growing physically, they are also developing sexually. It behoves on the parents, their caregivers, and teachers to know what to do with their sexual development, to know what to expect, and then to know what to teach based on what to expect. Okay? So, for 9 to 13 years old, I'm going to run through it. What do you expect at this age? Okay? These children have an imagined sense of self as a young adult. Okay? As a young adult. So, between childhood and adulthood is what we call adolescence. And that is they are better. It's preferred you address them not as children, not as adults, but as young adults. So they're becoming more aware of themselves as young adults. All right. So they feel conscious of their sexuality and how they choose to express it. At this stage, all right, they understand jokes with sexual content. When they are coded and everything, you may not understand, but children of this age, they are beginning to understand such jokes. Then they feel concerns at this age about being normal, such as whether it is normal to masturbate or whether it is normal to have wet dreams for the boys. All right, I don't want to talk about it, but there are a lot of myths behind wet dreams. And because they don't talk these things with parents, they share these things with their friends and they get a lot of ideas. But that's not for this class. All right. Next thing, they feel anxious and curious about puberty, when it will happen, how it will happen, and if they are prepared for it. Okay. When it will happen, how it will happen, and if they are prepared for it. Welcome, Marybeth. Welcome, Emerald. Welcome, Chidima. So they are bothered about it. This is that age. What do you do about it as a parent? What do you do about these things? All right. At this stage, they compare their body with other people's bodies. It's very, very, very normal to see teenagers look at themselves, both boys and girls. All right. It's not peculiar to girls. Boys too, in the toilets, in the changing rooms, okay, like people, those ones in sport, especially abroad, where they have to go to their lockers to change up. In the bathroom, you see boys compare the size of their penis and all that, and how they are growing. They are bothered about those things at that age, and it's absolutely normal. All right. And then at this stage, they become influenced by media messages regarding sexuality. So this is the stage. I know from the statistics we have shows that a lot of children get into pornography for the first time at the age of 8. Okay, so this is the stage. A lot of them become really into it from 13 years. All right. So they are becoming more curious and they go to the media and they care a lot about what the media says, especially, like I said yesterday, I said that a lot of children are learning sexuality education from pornography. What do you do with it? Okay. What do you do with it? So you see, puberty education for the Gen Alpha children and the Gen Zers is not the same. I said it is what we knew and so much more. All right. So you don't just tell them the periphery of puberty anymore. Now in puberty education, you must talk about sex education. You must talk about pornography education. You must talk about drug abuse education. All right. So if you look at the puberty course I'm launching in October, all these things are covered. You must talk about LGBTQ and transgender and all that. They are all embedded in puberty education of this time. Okay, so any puberty course captures all that because we are not just talking about the physical changes happening in the children's lives. We are also talking about every other thing that borders around their sexuality. This is their age. This is the jet age. This is the technological age. So they are really bothered. They care about what they say about sexuality in the media. So what are you saying to them? They become curious about differences they see in family and friends' sexuality values. Like, seriously, you believe in virginity? I thought it's an old stuff. Seriously, they don't do this in your family? They are, because they are interacting so much more with each other. They want to know what's happening in another family. They want to know what other people believe about, hot topics. All right. Then at that stage, they feel shy about asking questions of parents. They feel shy. That's why I am I am very enthusiastic about encouraging parents, or teaching parents how to start these sex conversations from when they are little, because when they come of age, it even becomes more difficult, especially if you hadn't started when they were still, happy, innocent, and all that. So it becomes an uphill task when they get to 13 and then you want to start sexually. Even them, they are not comfortable with the topic, especially with parents. They may be comfortable with their peers talking about those things, but with parents, it's not possible. So what will determine if your child at this stage of their development, if they will come to you to talk to you, to ask questions, to interact with you based on their sexuality questions, it depends. What determines it is how you started from when they were children. If it was a topic that should have been broached in your home, if the communication lines concerning sexuality were not open in your home, then when they become teenagers, you don't expect them to come to you to talk about it. And you know what? As I speak, a lot of parents are bothered that their children don't talk these things out with them. A lot of other parents are not bothered. They feel their children are not interested since they don't ask questions based on sexuality, love, and sex and relationship. But that's not true. Okay? So, what else? They value privacy highly at this stage. I hope you know that. They are usually concerned about the quality of all people. They begin to accept and take responsibility for behaviors and actions. At this stage, they're expected to exhibit empathy, sensitivity, and friendship skills. Like I said, from this age, from 9, your child is beginning to become, to get more validation from friends. They begin to shift focus from family to friends, from parents to friends. All right? So they are beginning to become influenced by friends and their peers. All right. So, when they become teenagers, we advise parents to become more friendly with them, because when they find a friend in you, you are blessed. When your children can find a friend in you, your teenagers can find a friend in you as their parents, then your parenting journey is already a success. But most teenagers, they have their parents, then they have their friends. They have stuff they can discuss with their parents and stuff they can only discuss with their friends. But think about it. What if your child at 9, at 13, at 16 sees a friend in you? Sees not you not just as a parent, but as a friend? You are blessed. Okay, so that should be, if your children are still small, that should be your target. Build such a connection, build such a relationship that will stand the test of time. Because at this stage, a lot of children do things that their parents are not even aware of. Let me not get distracted. All right. So at this stage, they have influence over things that happen in their lives. All right. They have influence. All right. So this is like the middle stage. As they go towards adulthood. From here, they become adults. All right. So a lot has changed from when they were children. When they were less than 8, 7, when they were not teenagers, everything was you. But at this stage, they now have a lot of influence over things that happen in their lives. I mean, you can't help it. So, what are you building? What are the values you're building into them? All right? I keep saying it. These children will make decisions in life. But based on what? Based on what? What values? What is the solid foundation that you have given them, based on which they will make their decisions? You can't control it at this stage. That's the truth. You must accept it. All right. So, as a parent, what do you teach? Based on this, knowing this, you don't get bothered by what I've talked about, because they are normal. All right. So I don't have time to talk about the abnormal behaviors that should give you a red sign. All right. But I'm going straight to what you should teach. What you're teaching is based on their behaviors, their normal behaviors. Welcome, you see. You're not just teaching out of the blues. All right. So keep on talking about content for 6 to 8 years old. But right now, you're going to be doing it with more details. At this stage, every sugarcoating in sexuality education must stop. It's unacceptable at this stage, all right? You know that when we were growing up, teenage was from 13, all right? And even at that, there was still some form of this thing. Sugarcoating was allowed. But right now, teenage has been brought down, okay? So teenage is no more 13 in the 21st century or in the Gen Alpha generation. It has come down. And you see, the media is not considering their age in exposing a lot of things. So if you're going to sugarcoat, you will be shooting yourself at the foot. If you're going, nobody is sugarcoating. The media is not sugarcoating. What they are doing on the media is not sugarcoating, all right? And your children have access to the media. So would you sugarcoat? You can't afford to sugarcoat sexuality education at this stage, all right? So at this stage, I said that they are becoming more connected to their friends. They are becoming more, peer influenced. So as a parent, you encourage your children to join healthy communities that will help them build positive friendship, all right? Look around you, both online and offline. Where are those communities that you think will influence your children positively? At this stage, you still have a lot of influence over them. Encourage them to join such organizations, such communities. What happens? There is a high chance that they will meet people that you want, the kind of people you want them to interact with. All right? It's not, that's intentional parenting. You have actually tried your best from when they were little. But at this stage, there's nothing you can do about it. They are going to be peer influenced. Now, you can still use your influence to direct them to the kind of peers you want them to influence. You want to influence them, all right? There are a lot of teenagers group. And a failure to do that, to make them to seek for other organizations, other groups to join that will bring a negative peer influence on them. So be intentional and seek for such groups, such teens group, both online and offline, where you know that the kind and quality of people you want your child to be influenced by are there. So you should do that. Okay, so request to know their friends. This is the stage of friendship. Okay, so request to know their friends and also the parents of their friends, because you need to find out their family values and culture. It's very important. Do you know that when your children see that you accept their friends, then they are more open to you? Okay? I don't see the reason why parents should not, when your children know that you accept their friends, they can bring any of them home. And when they bring their friends home, don't leave them in the living room and then go to your room. Don't leave them doing their thing and then you go and be on your own. Okay? Try as much as possible to exercise influence on their friends. Why? Because your children will be influenced by their friends. So, cook food. Make snacks available. Music, you know what teenagers love. Make your home a place where they would want to look forward to come. All right? So when you begin to befriend and know their friends and you have influence on their friends, you can easily, if there's something you want to fix in your child, you can easily go through their friends. I'm just giving you a secret and it's for free. You need to pay me. All right? So that's for that. So you encourage your child to do all those things. Then you begin to talk about, now we're talking about puberty. You talk about both the physical and the emotional changes that occur that are to be expected at puberty. All right? You need to talk about, a lot of us, we are just, welcome Ifeemi, welcome Elizabeth. A lot of us, we concentrate on the physiological changes that occur at puberty. And we forget even the one that is even more critical than the physiological change, which is emotional changes. It is these emotional changes that causes friction between child and parent. Parent does not understand what's happening to the child. It just feels my child has suddenly changed. And the child too does not understand what is happening to him. So it's just going to be from one fight to the other. All right? So you need to join my puberty course. You really understand a lot of things, and it will help your relationship with your would-be teenager or teenager to become smoother. Explain that puberty is a stage where their reproductive organs are maturing and attaining the capacity to bear children. Okay, so puberty stage is the transition stage from childhood to adulthood. Okay, so you talk to them about the physical changes for boys and for girls. I'm not going to do that here. If you're interested, come into the class. But nevertheless, I have good news. My a book is coming out on age-appropriate sex education for children. So it's going to be a guide, but it's going to be more than a guide, because you will see how to do, how to have these guided conversations with your children. Okay, so you talk about the physical, welcome Okamaka, you talk about the physical changes for boys, and you talk about the physical changes for girls. And then do well to talk about the difference, the similarities between the similarities for boys and girls, and the differences between the changes that happen between the boys and the girls. Okay, then you do that, and then you talk about the first period. It's very important your daughter knows about periods before it happens. It's very important. Of course, the significant difference between the pubertal development of boys and girls is menstruation for girls and the wet dreams for boys. So a lot of boys have that experience before they know what it is. And unfortunately, when they see it, they become embarrassed. They think that they have just urinated, weed on the bed. And then unfortunately again, there's nobody to talk to at home. So they take it to their friends or anybody. And then they hear these myths like, you have a spirit wife. You just had sex in your dream. You are not normal. A lot of things. It's called nocturnal emissions, and it's normal. I really encourage you to join that class. Then you'll be able to explain to your boy child what wet dreams is all about, okay? And that it's normal. You need to explain to your child, your daughter, about periods, and how she should. When you do that, she looks forward to her first period. And when it comes, it's not an embarrassment to her. She knows what to do. And of course, you teach her how to change up her pad and everything. Okay, so that's the physical changes. Then you talk about the emotional changes. Very important. They need to understand what is happening in their brain. There's something called the puberty brain. A lot of transformation happens when puberty sets in. And do you know what? Emotional changes already begin before physical changes. So, you see, a lot can be happening to your 9-year-old that you don't understand, that she or he does not understand. All right? So, emotional changes go first before the physical, before you see that breast burden, welcome Chidema, before you see, the class is in October. The class is in October, actually. Before you see, your daughter sees her menses, a lot has already happened in her brain, in the hormones, in her system. A lot has already begun to happen. Before the onset of physiological changes in your son, a lot is already happening emotionally. And that one is even very critical, because that is the one that will affect their relationships, both with you as their parents, with their friends, and with family and everybody. All right? So they need to know what is happening, the raging hormones, the what's happening in their brain and in their body system. You see, when they understand it, I remember, in a particular class I was in, something happened. A parent was sharing how the daughter was able to tell her, mommy, maybe it's puberty, So that's one of the greatest advantages of sexuality education. It gives children the language to communicate. When they understand, look, that this is as a result of puberty, this is is puberty brain and all that, they will be able to know how, because you're going to teach them. That's part of what we are learning in the puberty course for parents. You're going to teach them emotional skills on how to be able to handle their emotions, to make sure that their relationships are not strained because of puberty. All right. So not just their emotion, not just the emotions that cause problems and all that, even the sexual emotions. Did I tell you that at this stage they begin to feel more sexual and everything? So you have a lot of work to do. You need to teach them how to manage their sexual urges and all that. I'm coming there. So emotional changes, physical changes. Then this is the stage where you talk with more details about sexual intercourse and other sexual behaviors. All right? I said sugarcoating ended ever since. There is one particular course I have dealing with parental blocks about sexuality education. There are a lot of things that have made us not to be able to have seamless sex conversations in our home. Some of those things don't allow us to have those conversations, all right? Those things, even when we have the conversations, we sugarcoat it. We are not comfortable even saying the word sex. We are not comfortable calling the private parts by their names, all right? So those things, I call them parental mind blocks. If you have not, recognized your own and dealt with it, by the time your child begins to become an adolescent, it will disgrace your sex education. It will mess you up big time. If you have not dealt with this parental mind block, even it will affect the way you relate with your children when it comes to their sexuality. You will not be able to help it. But those things are in your mind, so you can't be free to say what you're supposed to say. All right. So in that particular course, I'm able to bring out a lot of them. There are more than 10, and then tell you it's just some knowledge you need to have that will help you deal with those blocks. All right. Because now you need to tell your child what sexual intercourse is. All right. You need to tell them other sexual behaviors. You need to talk to them at this stage about other sexual. You need to tell them about voyeurism. You need to tell them about sexting. You need to tell them about pornography, bestiality, all the other perversions of sexual intercourse. You need to tell them about homosexuality, lesbianism, and everything at this stage. So you can't afford to keep things from them because it's all open in the internet. And those messages are unreliable. All right. So you now begin now to provide them with basic information about STIs, that's sexually transmitted infections. That these are infections you catch when you have illicit sex. All right. And you know what? I just discovered a few weeks ago that this particular STI called genital warts cannot be prevented with condom. Okay, so you begin to tell them these things based on your family values. Talk about the use of condoms based on your family's sexual values. Okay, so I also have another particular series, a course talking about creating your family values and family sexual values. You don't do sex education without values. Your values form the skeleton of your sex conversation. Why are you telling your child to do this? That's your values. Why? Okay, when your child is away from you and has to make a decision, why should he decide or why should she decide to make this particular decision? It is your family values, your family sexual values that you have shared with them from cradle. Okay, so you don't do that. That's why it's very key when I'm teaching parents in my Becoming Sex-Wise Education course. That's one we treat very well, and you're expected to create your family values and your family sexuality values. Okay, so what are your values about love, about dating, about contraception or use of contraceptives? All right, this is when you share it with your child. Do you want to tell them they can have sex, but they should, as a girl, make sure you use condom, make sure you use contraceptives. Don't come back here with pregnancy. Or as a boy, you're telling your son, use condom, use condom to prevent. What is your family values? Or what is your family values about premarital sex? This is when you should open it up to your children. Okay, share your values and beliefs about love, dating, contraception, and when it is okay to become sexually active. Don't just assume that your children know that they should keep sex till marriage and you're not teaching it. You have not told them why. Okay, so these things are very important. Explain that once puberty sets in, they may slowly start to feel more sexual and develop romantic feelings towards their peers. Where should they hear these things from? Except from your mouth. If they hear that, so when they feel that way, they know, oh, my mom already told me about it. And then you begin to teach them how to handle such feelings. And they are able to know what to do. Compared to the child who begins to feel that way and then feels that, oh, since I'm feeling that way, let me go out. Sex education is very critical in your home. So, talk about same-sex attraction and fantasy, and that it doesn't align with God's plan for sexuality. What's your family values about that? Okay? Talk about pornography, and that it is not the best way to learn about sex, that sexuality is exaggerated in pornography. Okay? It is exaggerated. They need to know that, right? I said it before, I'm still saying it again. A lot of adolescents are getting sex education from pornography. They just have a question, how does this happen? And then they go Google. They go to Google. They just have a question. How does this particular thing happen? What is the meaning of this? And they go straight to Google and they have a lot there to watch and to learn from. Okay, so then discuss cyber safety and how to use their mobile phones responsibly. Okay, that's one of the key lessons we are having in our puberty course for parents. We are talking about tech education. You need to teach your children how to become digital citizens, how to use these mobile devices to their benefits and not against themselves. Okay, so that's what is tech education. That's what is called tech education. All right, so we are going to talk about that in our puberty course for parents. Okay, all right, so that is all for now, but there is so much more. First of all, the guide is going to be out, and second, the puberty education or puberty course for parents is going to span a week, because we are not rushing. These days, I don't like rushed courses anymore. We are not rushing. It's going to span a week, all right? Someone said that the price is too much for 1 week, all right? It's going to span a week, and we're going to take these topics one after the other, from what you should know and from what you should let your child know. It's going to be a practical session. All right, I said it before, puberty education is what you used to know, and it is so much more. So that's so much more. What is it? So you need to come attend that class. Come for the attend that class, and you'll be able to know more. Okay, so you should note that some children are curious about sex and others aren't. Okay? Some children are curious about sex and others are not at this stage. So whether your child falls into the category of children who are curious or into a category of children who are not curious, there is no problem about it. Just make sure that you have consistent talks in your home. All right? That you have consistent sexuality education talks in your home, so that at any point in time, they have what to say. or they have what to ask you. Then once puberty starts, they will slowly start to think about sex as being something that they may someday want to do. Okay? They will decide that, oh, like a 6-year-old asks the parent, asks the mother, will I have sex someday? So think about your teenager and what is going on in their mind. Oh, sex, I will have it one day. So when would that be and how will it happen and blah, 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 blah. Who will they talk to about that? Then by starting conversations about sex with your child, you are letting them know that it is okay for them to come to you with any questions. Just imagine being free talking about these things with your child. It will be so, your child knows that I'm supposed to come here to talk about this. Your child knows that you are the first point of call when it comes to issues about sexuality, okay? Like I told my daughter, I said, if you have any question, don't go. Even they don't use phones now. They don't have their personal devices now. But then I'm bringing it in their head that if you have any question about sexuality, don't go to Google. Don't go to Google. Come to me, okay? And when you come to me, we'll talk about it. And if it's something I can't answer, then I will need to go to Google. We'll go there together. I've told her that every information in Google is not to be trusted. In fact, I let her know that Google is not Google, what they write in Google is not something from heaven or something from space. I let her know that these are people's minds expressed and they show it on Google, all right? So when you're searching a particular thing, the results that are coming out there are people's thoughts. They are just telling you what they think. In fact, I told her that she can also write and it will also appear in the search results in Google. So I'm trying to let her know that Google doesn't have all, especially in sexuality. Just go and try it and type what is sex and go and see what, then go and search on LGBTQ by yourself and see what is being written there. There is just no single thing written about LGBTQ to discourage people or to say that it's not okay. But if I ask you, based on your family sexuality values, it's not okay. You believe in male and female. You believe that husband should marry wife. You believe that there should not be lesbianism and all that. Have you taught your child? Once they go to the internet, they will find out that the world is telling them that it's okay to have such feelings towards a same-sex partner. It's legalized in countries. And you know what? Someone wrote that in Nigeria, celebrities are becoming more transgender. And I'm like, it's not these celebrities. We just know about celebrities because they are on the social network. But those things are closer to you than you ever knew. So take these things seriously. Take these things seriously. This puberty course will benefit you a lot, all right? Then, of course, our once a week in this group, it's been an amazing 3 weeks, and we are getting to the 4th week. What am I doing? I'm trying to make sex education become a consistent thing in your home. We may forget, life happens, a lot happens, and we forget to talk about the sexuality. School is resuming, so we are all focused on academics, and there is a very big temptation to forget and relegate their sexual lives behind. All right? So once a week is just another way to help parents do this thing every week at home. The things I'll be talking about, you might even already know those things. So it's not even about coming to acquire new knowledge. It's about doing this consistently, talking these things consistently in your home. So after 4 weeks on the Facebook group, it's over. But I have other parents I'm working with for a whole year. If you're still interested, it's still open. Come in and you find out that every week you have these conversations and the lines are consistently open for your children to talk about these things. So thank you so much. I've really talked long today because it concerns adolescents. All right? So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please, you can put it down in the comments. I will still be reading. How much? The class is just 7,500 because I'm starting. This is the first time I'm launching it. It's just 7,500 because it's the first time launch. And after this time, it's going to go higher. All right. So, and it's going to span for 1 week. And I told the person, even if I fix it at 1,000, people will still not buy. It's all about value. It's all about value. Hi, Mary Beth. I'm done. So if you're catching a replay, you can ask your questions, drop your comments. I will be reading. Thank you so much for being with me. These people that have been with me since morning, since afternoon, since I started this broadcast. God bless you. Thank you so much. You will not see shame in your home. Your children will make you proud. See you next time. Goodbye.